Well, we never should have gone to war. The Civil War. That from Republican White House hopeful Ron Paul, the Texas congressman, saying Abe Lincoln only went to war to get rid of the original intent of the Republic. Check out his response on Meet the Press when Tim Russert says we would still have slavery had we not.
Oh, come on, Tim. Slavery was phased out in every other country of the world, and the way I'm advising that it should have been done is do like the British Empire did. You buy the slaves and release them. How much would that cost compared to killing 600,000 Americans and where it lingered for 100 years? I mean, the hatred and all that existed. So every other major country in the world got rid of slavery without a civil war.
Bill Kristol is with us. He is the editor of the Weekly Standard. Kind of an interesting take for a presidential hopeful to be taking on one of the most popular presidents in American history.
Well, he's a crackpot, John, and you know, the extreme right has always hated Lincoln. The extreme left hates Lincoln, and as often is the case with people like Ron Paul, the extreme right and extreme left have come together behind his candidacy. He doesn't approve of anything any American government has done, so far as I can tell, in the last 150 years. He's against the interventions in both world wars, I believe. He's against the Civil Rights Act of 1964. He's against, you know, efforts to help poor people by the federal government. He claims to be a libertarian, but he doesn't seem to care much about liberty. I saw in the interview with Tim Russert, he also cites Vietnam as a wonderful place. But shouldn't libertarians be a little unhappy about the absolute absence of liberty in current Vietnam? So I think he'll run in the primaries. He may run in the general election, as Pat Buchanan and Ross Perot did. He may get some votes, but I don't think at the end of the day let's hope he's not going to be a serious player in this campaign.
Well, I guess his point is you had 600,000 dead in the Civil War, the bloodiest war in American history. He says it simply wasn't worth the cost, that you could have gotten rid of slavery another way.
Well, there's really no evidence of that. I mean, there's no examples of countries that had slavery institutionalized the way we did in half of our country, a whole economic system built around it. There were many efforts by the North to persuade the South to give it up peacefully, but the slavery forces were aggressive in the 1850s, not receding. Look, you can have an interesting academic debate about whether Lincoln's tactics and strategy were right, whether different policies in the 1830s, 1840s, 1850s might have led to a different place. But Ron Paul's fundamental position is anti-American. Let's be honest about it. He does not like the United States, any policy the United States of America has pursued anywhere in the world or at home for the last century or so. Now, he's a crank, but there's a market for cranks. As I say, I think he'll probably run as an independent candidate in the general election. He might get 5, 6, 7% of the vote. He might be in the debates the way Perot was. I think that would be unfortunate. It will distract us from the real world around there. I think Republicans in particular, though, you look at the news you just reported about the bomb attempt in Turkey. Look at Rick Leventhal's very interesting report from Anbar. We're fighting wars against Islamic jihadism around the world. They attacked us on 9/11. The Republican Party is not going to take seriously, ultimately, someone who thinks we're responsible for 9/11 and who thinks we don't have serious threats around the world and a serious obligation to help those who stand for liberty and decency around the world.
But what does that mean? I mean, is there the possibility, if he were to run as an independent, would he siphon votes from whoever the Republican nominee is in the way that many people think Ralph Nader did from Al Gore in 2000?
I actually think he could hurt the Democrats as much. He'll run as the pure anti-war, pure isolationist candidate. And in some sense, I think, since the Democrats are going to be more anti-war than the Republicans, he may siphon more votes from them. But mostly, I think he'll take disaffected voters, voters who hate both parties, voters who think America has just been horribly governed for a century. I don't know that he matters at the end.